Hi, I'm Alan Dunson. I'm coming to you from Harlem, located on the island of Manhattan in the city of New York, and this is Harlem Movie Talk. Each week we'll review soon-to-be released films. Okay, so first let's talk about our rating system. We see the decision whether to go to the movies is an economic one. Is a movie worth the time and expense of going to the theater? And if it is, it gets our top rating, which is See It Now. Now, if a film is modestly entertaining, it'll get a See It Later rating. Now, if a movie has absolutely no entertainment value at all, it gets our lowest rating, which is Don't Bother. We also do something a little bit differently. We have a cast diversity rating, where we look at the diversity of the cast based on the film setting. In other words, a rural setting is going to have a different standard than a film taking place in an urban setting. And that will be scored on an A to F rating system. This week we look at the movie in Emergency. Two African-American college students, played by R.J. Seiler and Donald Elise Watkins, return to their off-campus house to find the front door open. Now, this annoys them because their other roommate, played by Sebastian Chacon, who happens to be Hispanic, has a habit of leaving the front door open. But the open entrance is the least of their problems this particular night, because there's a young blonde white girl, played by Maddie Nichols, passed out on the living room floor. Now the roommate, played by Chacon, who's been there all evening, doesn't know how she got there either. He's as much of a loss as the two that just arrived. Now they panic because on one hand they really need to find help for this young woman, but on the other hand they feel like what are the police going to do and say when they arrive at the house with three young men and a pretty unconscious young Caucasian woman. So they think at first, well, she's just another student, but I don't want to give the story away, but later on in the movie they find that actually she's only 16. Now, she's a teen in town visiting her older sister. Now, the two of them were at a party, but the younger sister is now missing, and her older sister is trying to find out, where is my little sister? So she's on a search for the teen. At the same time, the guy is trying to figure out how to get this young woman help. They decide not to call the police, but to take her to the hospital. Now, this movie won an emergency won the Special Jury Prize of the 2018 Sundance Film Festival, and that same year they won the Grand Jury Prize at the Southwest Film Festival. Now the movie starts very strongly. Again, you follow these guys to this shocking scene to the living room, and there's some understandable conflict, which I always talk about conflict being the key to any successful production. It's like, what are we going to do? Call the police? We got to do something. So that was that very strong initial conflict. Now this movie is actually kind of like, if you're familiar with the Hangover series from like the 2010 period, and there's another film series called Harold and Kumar. And what these type of films do is they have, you have storylines covering a series of comical events in a short period of time. It can be, 24 hours or less. And so the Emergency follows that same format when you have this one evening and these guys trying to get this young woman to the hospital. Now the performances are good. There's probably a cast you may not recognize, but talking about cast, it gets an A in cast diversity because it is a highly diverse cast. And they have some of the devices that you see in films. Sometimes they conveniently put scenes in the movie that probably wouldn't happen normally, like when they're taking the young woman to the hospital, one of the young men's relatives happens to live on the way, and they stop in there, and the relatives have their own level of shock and recommendations to how to handle this situation. I like it because it is a unique storyline, but it's also current, and it's rated R. It's 105 minutes with some sexual references that gives it the R. But finally, I just want to say it gets a See It Now rating. You should go out and see Emergency if you get the chance to. Thank you very much. This is Harlem Movie Talk. I'm Alan Dunson. Be sure to look out for our next review.